Alright, Shalom, brothers. This is Brother Akal Lamai from the GMS Dallas, Texas camp.
Zakaria.
First off, I want to give all praise and honor to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and honors to you brothers out there that are defending the gospel. And today we're going to take another look at another word, rather. And this is actually in the assignment again this week for the book of James, or last week's assignment. And we're going to take a look at the word tempt, as well as temptation and tempted. They're pretty much all the same thing. And the whole subject matter of this lesson is going to be, is the Most High going to tempt you in the sense that he's going to tempt you in a negative way. Alright? As in, because the scriptures say that he isn't going to tempt you, which we're going to read here, but then there are what appear to be contradictions in the Bible. So we're going to actually take a look at what the words mean so you can get an understanding. Alright, so we're going to read James 1 and 12 all the way to 14 or 15.
James chapter 1 starting at 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of the Most High. For the Most High cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man.
Right, so it says clearly that the Most High cannot be tempted with evil, neither does he tempt any man. Alright? Keep reading.
But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed.
Right.
Then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death.
So it clearly breaks down the whole process of what happens when a man is tempted. You're tempted by your own lusts, and then it says once lust has conceived, it bringeth forth sin. Then when sin is finished, it bringeth forth death. Right? Because according to the scriptures, the wages of sin is death. Right? So it gives a clear breakdown of what that process is when temptation comes in. So now let's look at the next tab, the Greek word. Let's see if that audio will play. Scroll up a little bit, I guess, so they could. Oh, okay. Yeah. See if that'll play. Yep. No, playing. But the Greek word is pairazo. And read the definition.
All right. First definition: to try whether a thing can be done. To attempt, endeavor. To try, make trial of, test for the purpose of ascertaining his quality or what he thinks.
Now you got to keep in mind what the context of the scripture we're reading is, and back in James, the first chapter, because that's going to tell us basically what the correct meaning of this word here is when we're reading tempt in James 1. Go ahead, bro.
Or how he will behave himself. In a good sense, in a bad sense, to test one maliciously, craftily, to put to the proof his feelings or judgment.
That's the point I wanted to make. Now, the Most High is not going to maliciously or craftily test you or tempt you, all right, in a malicious sense. All right, he's not going to condone you going off, because the scripture says that he doesn't give any man license to sin, all right? So when we're going back to James, the first chapter, when it's talking about temptation, obviously we just said it's talking about how you're tempted, you're drawn away by your own lusts. But let's go to the next scripture, all right? Because this is going to appear to be a contradiction. Go ahead.
Genesis 22, and we're going to start at 1. And it came to pass after these things that the Most High did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, Behold, here am I.
Now, wait a minute. It says that it came to pass that the Most High tempted Abraham. It said the Most High did tempt Abraham. So you're reading that after we just read James, the first chapter, and you're like, well, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense, because it clearly said that the Most High doesn't tempt man. He cannot be tempted with evil, nor tempteth Salakia, he any man. All right? So now let's go to the blue letter definition for the word tempt in the Hebrew. with the scripture. Now it's gonna, for the most part, pretty much say the same thing. Go ahead, bro.
You want to go ahead and try to play it?
Yeah, let's see if that's active. It does the same thing in my house on Chrome.
Naka, or sorry, Nasa,
Con.
Naka, Nasa.
Nothing. Nasa, yeah.
To test, try, prove, tempt, assay, put to the proof or test.
Right now, to know, like we read, like I said just a minute ago in the last scripture we read, you got to know the correct context of the scripture to know how exactly to break down the word that's mentioned there. Now, because it said that he went to tempt Abraham, but did he go to tempt him in a malicious way? No. What proves that? Let's just go back to Genesis 22 and read all the way to verse 12, so we can actually break down this whole story here.
And he said, take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon the mountains which I will tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, and went unto the place of which the Most High had told him. Then on the 3rd day Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder, and worship, and come again unto you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together.
This whole story is basically breaking down how Abraham was about to sacrifice his only son Isaac. Go ahead.
And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, my father. And he said, here am I, my son. And he said, behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?
So Isaac's kind of like, well, wait a minute. We're about to have a sacrifice here. We got all the wood and the fire and all that, but where's the burnt offering? Go ahead. He's kind of like worried, like, what's going on? Go ahead.
And Abraham said, my son, the Most High will provide himself with the lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. And they came to the place which the Most High had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order. And bound Isaac his son, and laid him upon the altar, upon the wood.
Because this is what the Most High told him to do. Take thy only son Isaac and sacrifice him to me for a burnt offering. Go ahead.
And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son.
So at this point, Abraham was fully committed to doing what the Most High told him to do. Which is what the whole context of that word tempt there is to try whether, in fact, can we go back here real quick? It said to test, to try, prove, to tempt, to assay, to put to proof or test. So basically, he put Abraham to the test. Are you going to do what I asked you to do? What I commanded you to do? And Abraham did it. At that point, he was about to do it. But let's go back and see what happens.
Verse 11. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, here am I. And he said, lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest the Most High, seeing that thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me.
All right, so the Most High, ultimately, he put him to the test, and Abraham was successful. So that's what it means there when he said he tempted Abraham, or he came to tempt Abraham. It's not temptation as we think of it in modern terms. All right, like for an example, you see a woman, you're out somewhere at a club or a bar or whatever, and you see a woman, and the temptation's there to go and talk to her, and the end goal is to lay with her, right? So it's not temptation in that sense that we're thinking of. It's talking about the Most High putting Abraham to the test, and guess what? Abraham passed the test. He was successful. So that's what it means when it's using the word tempt there. You got to go and look at the Hebrew or the Greek in certain words here in the scriptures, so you don't get confused as to what's being talked about. Because when you just read it for face value, you go from James, the first chapter, back to Genesis 22, it looks like a contradiction. But if you just look up the definition of the word, you'll see that it isn't. Right? Let's go to Revelation. Yeah. Go ahead. Because this is what's coming, Revelation 3 and 10.
3 and 10.
This is what's coming real soon, all right? Just to bring it all, begin to bring it all to a head. This is what's coming to every brother that's in the truth. All right? Go ahead. Unless
No. Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, and I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation,
Yep.
which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth.
Wait, which shall come the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. To try them. All right, what's another word you could use for trial? Trial. All right? The hour of temptation. What is going to be the main hour of temptation? When that chip comes? When the Most High puts us to the test to see whether or not we'll remain faithful unto death. All right? For the brothers, there are going to be some that will be put to death. There'll be some that are delivered. But the scriptures clearly say, Sirach 4 and 28, strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee.
That's right.
So let's go ahead, just take a look at the definition for this word. And it's pyrasmos.
Pyrasmos.
Yeah.
Pyrasmos.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Let's see.
Strong's G 3986. Pyrasmas. Pyrasmas.
Okay.
You ain't saying it right.
Go ahead.
All right. Definition: an experiment, attempt, trial, proving.
Up, said trial. Says the hour of temptation, which is to try them to dwell upon the earth. All right. You got something?
No, not yet.
Oh.
Trial, proving. The trial made of you by my bodily condition, since conditions served as to test the love of the Galatians toward Paul.
All right.
That's talking about that specific scripture right there, obviously. The trial of man's fidelity, integrity, virtue, constancy.
Right. That's the point. That's the point I want to come to. The trial of a man's fidelity, fidelity meaning his belief, his integrity, his virtue, and his constancy. That's what's going to be tested when that hour of temptation comes upon the earth. All right? That's what's going to be put to the test. So it's not going to be the temptation that we think about back in James, the first chapter. It's going to be the Most High putting us through trial by fire, like the old saying goes.
That's the precept I had right here.
You guys, go ahead.
Zechariah 13 and 9. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried.
Yep.
And they shall call on my name, and I will hear them, and I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my God.
Right, because the whole process of the destruction, during the whole process of the destruction of America, not only literally are the elect going to be coming through the fire, but leading up to that point, that fire is going to be the adversity that brothers go through in order to get salvation.
That's right.
All right? That's why the Lord's going to, it says he's going to bring us through that fire. What proves that is the last scripture. Isaiah. Go ahead, bro.
Isaiah 48 and verse 10. Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction.
I have refined thee, but not with silver, and I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. Because when you get a precious metal such as silver or gold, when you put it to the fire, it just purifies it or refines it. So that's what the Most High is going to do to us, to whoever the elect are. All right, the brothers. He's going to refine us through the furnace of affliction. Meaning we're going to go through hell.
He's going to test us.
He's going to test us because he only wants the best, right? To make you, when you're in a class, you got to pass the test to pass the class, right? Or a final exam. All right, you got to pass the final exam to pass the class. Well, that what we're about to go through, I mean, it sounds stupid, but it's going to be like a final exam. It's going to be a whole lot harder, obviously. But it's going to be harder. There's going to be martial law. It's going to be people running down after you to kill you. It's gonna be it's gonna be hardly any food out there.
It's going to be your family. You
Your
may have
yep.
to walk away from your family.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true.
It's going to be all kind of temptations like that. Your woman, you're going to have to leave your woman.
Right.
Whether or not you can do something like that.
Right.
Those are all the tests that we might go through.
Yep. Yep, that's true. That's what that temptation is. The Most High is going to test you, ultimately, whether or not to see if you're worthy to make it into the kingdom. Do what He says, and so you can make it into the kingdom, making on those chariots, which is the ultimate goal. All right. So, with that, unless you had something to say, you're thinking about any last words, you got anything else? Nope. With that, hope that was edifying to you brothers. So, Lord willing, to the next show. Brothers, stay strong. Shalom.
Shalom.